Hi guys, welcome back to the Life's Good. Well, it's been another busy week for myself and for Cheryl. Haven't had much chance to get out into the garden, although one morning during the week I was out here. It was a beautiful morning, it was nice and quiet, and I took the opportunity to make a quick video just to share my observation on how quiet and peaceful it was. Right, well, it's a bit overcast today, it's a bit cooler, but we still have not had any significant rainfall. We had a couple of showers, sort of drizzle, night before last, and one evening earlier in the week, a little bit of drizzle, but nothing significant, as I said. And my water butts, I've got one here by the greenhouse, I've got one at the corner of the house. I use those for watering all my plants and containers and things around the garden, and it'd be really good to have those replenished. Otherwise I'm going to be using tap water. That's not a problem in itself, it's just that we do harvest the rainwater and we use that, and it's just a point to note that we actually are desperately running out of what we would normally have as full water butts at this time of the year. So strange. I know some people have had quite a bit of rain. Erica's little Welsh garden mentioned to me in the last week that she was rather hoping it would ease off a bit and start to dry up a bit so that she could crack on and do a few things in the garden. She was getting a bit fed up with the amount of rain they were receiving, and up at this end of the country we haven't had any. And I know Tony Smith down by Sunderland, whether he's mentioned it or not, but I know that he must be suffering the same way that we are here. He's only about 20-25 miles away from me, and I'm finding it very difficult. My soil is very light and dry. My lawn is cracked. Yeah, it's certainly no one's mentioned the word drought, but it feels like we are in a drought situation. Be interesting to see how it pans out over the next few days. As I said, it's overcast, it's grey, but it's not wet. Well, look, I've got a couple of things to do, and I wanted to show you a few things. My broad beans, I want to show you those. I'll show you the plants I put out on the salad bed, and one or two other things, guys. So I'll lift you around, take you down the corner there, and show you my beans. Well, just as I was turning the camera around, guys, the sun has broken through. It's an absolutely fabulous afternoon now. Sun is on my back, I'm in my garden, and the birds are singing, and the grass is green, and the sky is blue. Look, beans. Have a look at these, guys. Remember when I showed you how I planted my broad beans here? Now there are a couple of gaps I notice. If you look carefully over the back there is actually a gap there. I think there. I'm not sure how far down I came, but I think there should be another bean here, but there doesn't appear to be anything here, so there's a gap there. But look at the size of these guys. They're only a few weeks in the ground, and we've got a lovely show now. These plants are absolutely fantastic. So we will be looking forward to harvesting these later in the year. Now the broad beans, they will need some sort of support, I think. They're tucked in this corner. They're quite protected, but traditionally broad beans are a bit of an unstable plant. They get quite heavy and their stems aren't particularly strong, and if we do get strong wind they are susceptible to getting blown over. And in order to avoid that happening, it's always a good idea to tie them up, or put some sticks alongside them or around them, put some string around or something, just to keep them all held together and in an upright position. Otherwise you could end up losing a few. But I'm really pleased with these guys. Now, I did say to you that you can plant your broad beans October, November time, and they will overwinter and come on. So there's quite a few people who've probably got broad bean plants 3 and 4 times as big as these. But I planted these in March, and we're now at the end of April, and I've got some nice plants coming on here, so I'm really pleased with those. The other thing I wanted to show you is right next to them, this is my hedge of raspberries. And if I can just step over and show you, this is important, guys. Now, if you look in the base of the plant here, you see that there? That is new growth. There's another one here, and if you look, there's another one there. Now that growth will be produced during the summer. It will grow tall. However, it's this growth from last year that bears the raspberries. As you can see, they are forming on there, and the growth down here will bear fruit next year. So when we finished harvesting this year, the old growth, that is the growth that has had the fruit on, I will cut out right down at soil level and leave the new growth, which would be a lot taller by the end of the summer, leave that tied up to the fence here, and that will be the fruit, or bear the fruit, that we harvest next year. So if you're tidying up your raspberries and you see these new shoots at the bottom there, do not remove them, guys. You must leave them behind. And later in the year, you remove the old brown stems here. If we look from this angle, guys, you can see over here we got quite a bit of new growth on these canes, especially up here. But also I've got a couple that are growing further out. Sometimes the raspberries are sending their roots out across the garden, and you get these occasional plants growing out here, and that's too far away from the fence for me to tie that back. There's another one up here by the end of this little path. I will let those mature, but what I do is I will lift them from that location and put them back in against the fence line in those gaps. I've got a gap in there. One of these plants would be best suited, popped back in there, and then I let it continue growing. So I get my raspberries in a position where they're not in the way and I can control them a bit better. But they do send up these odd plants now and again. They do grow a little bit further away from the parent plants. As I said, you can take those, lift them, and put them in and extend your hedge, if you like to call it that. I've got a gap the other end behind the beans at the moment. If you look down there behind my broad beans, there's a gap there. I could continue this hedge of raspberries across that next section of fence. So some of these plants that are growing outside of the line, I can put in over there. Quick look at my shallots. Look at these, and almost all of them now, as you can see there, have started to sprout. And these started off with one shallot bulb, and as they mature they will split into quite a few. You can get 4, 5, 6 or more shallots from each one of these, and these will be ideal for pickling. That's what I like to grow these for, although a lot of chefs will tell you that shallots are better in stews and casseroles and so on than the more standard and accepted onion. You can get there's many different varieties of shallot. These ones are quite a round bulb. You can get long oval shaped ones, different coloured ones. These ones, the standard shallots, I find are ideal for pickling, and that's what I like to do with mine. I will be making jars of pickled onions with these, or from these, and those will be in my store cupboard for use during the autumn and winter months. And I also said I was going to show you the plants that I put out on this little salad bed that I created. The Lollo Rossa over the back there is doing really well, and they do actually look like small lettuce plants now, and they've done really well since they've been in the ground. They've enjoyed being put out. I did harden them off. All of them are stood up now, growing well. I haven't lost a single one, so I'm really pleased that they are doing well. Spring onions in front. There's a row of spring onions in there, as you can see. They've all stood up. They're doing okay. And the salad chard here, I've grown this for the first time. I said that I've grown the larger rainbow chard before, but I haven't used the salad chard, which is a smaller leafed sort of lettuce type plant. These will be ideal in salads and other dishes. And as we look at the end of the row here, you can see the last few are actually radishes, and then I've got a couple of rows of radish here, and they're all maturing quite well. These are all looking really good, and I'm looking forward to having my first harvest of radishes. And I think I did mention in one of my last videos that in the soil here, I'm thinking of putting in more radishes, but sow them direct into the soil, put the seeds in there, and also alongside the spring onions I might consider, or even between the salad, 2 rows of salad chard, I could put a row of spring onions in there, and by the time we're taking the chard away, the spring onions will be coming on. That is a way of, I think they call it catch cropping, where you're getting one crop growing, another crop following on, you're cropping one, and the next one is already in the ground growing, so you're getting 2 crops from one spot. It's a way of getting the most from your small area. If you've only got a small plot, you'd be surprised how much produce you can get from one area. The only other thing is, with the Lollo Rossa, I will be taking the outer leaves from those. We rarely take the whole lettuce when they're growing. Cheryl comes out and she just goes around the outside of the plants, taking the outer leaves, which we use in the kitchen, and leave the plant in the ground to carry on maturing and growing. It's an interesting concept of harvesting lettuce without actually removing the whole plant from the soil, so you could get a continued crop of lettuce throughout the summer from those few plants. Well, that's about it for one day, guys. Thanks for popping in. I've got some spinach here which I'm going to be putting on the garden in a little while. The sun's gone in and it's clouding over a bit thicker now, so maybe, just maybe, we could get some reasonable rainfall. I'm looking over towards the west, and it's looking quite dark over there, so with a bit of luck my garden will receive some rain in the not too distant future. Well, whatever you're doing, you take care of yourselves, be safe, be happy. Don't forget to hit that red button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you get updated whenever I put something new on. And come back and see us soon. We'll be pleased to see you here in the Life's Good. Bye bye for now.